you know how it is, peer pressure also in the industry. Even if it's not something that you wanted to do, like just by virtue of being around certain people.
Correct. Especially the club gigs, eh?
You know, so what I would do, end up, you know, it's skills you pick up. Like, so what I would do, if I realize, if I entertain this night after the gig, I'm going to end up in problems. So I would disappear without even saying, guys, I'm out. I did, after school, I did BSc. And then I actually worked.
The blood.
For the South African Blood Service for a good 5 years. But I was gigging in between until around 2005 when I was playing with Malaika. They were very busy. So I had to make a decision a few months ago, later, without even, you know, like after we've given up, like chasing this whole thing. I was at, we were picking up someone from a taxi rank in East London. I was doing a gig with Giselle. And while I was at the taxi rank, I could hear Lollywear blasting like all over the taxi rank. I'm like, those are my guitars mostly.
But you didn't get paid enough for credited.
So and then the album was blasting. You know, taxi ranks.
So do you think Gaten is your messiah?
I don't think of any political leader as a messiah. I think what I love about him, I admire him for reasons outside of politics as well. I've been following him before the Patriotic Alliance blew up. Hey man, a lot of people ask me about this cap. You know, even now when I go into malls and stuff and people recognize me, then they're like, are you that guy? I'm like, which guy? I know what they're trying to say, but I'm like, which guy? They're like, the guy, man, the guy with the cap. I'm like, yeah, it's me.
Our ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on this sunny day. Hey, it's been raining now. At least we've got a bit of sun. And today we've got a massacant in the room. But before we go to him, please make sure that you subscribe and like the podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your church members that the GRP podcast is here to stay. Please share it, subscribe, like, comment. Tell us when we're doing things wrong and tell us when we do things right. And let's not drag each other. Hey, that thing is not nice, man. That thing is not nice. But ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, today, I think the first band member we did was a colored guy, ne? The first band member we did, J-Star. And today, we said, no, man, please bring your cousin or something. and then we got a guy that has little words. He doesn't talk. But before we go to him, our song of the week this week is a beautiful song. I don't know if I'm the only one hearing this song, but a guy called Thapelo Lefifi. Please don't stop the rain. I feel like people are sleeping on that song, man. And he's got a new album. It's not new, but it's 2022. Check it out. Check out Thapelo Lefifi. Every time I tell him and I run into him, I say, Brat, you know I'm a fan. And, false humility is pride when I Thapelo. Just say, bring it on. I know I'm good, but I'm just, on a serious note, please check out Thapelo Lefifi. Please don't stop the rain. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving swiftly along, I've got a brother in studio, and I call him a brother because he is so, when a person is so reachable. I've seen him on DVD recordings a lot of times. I can't say he's a brava me, but when I meet him, he feels right, And he says few words, but people who know him better, they say he speaks more than everyone. But I want to see that today. And it's none other than Mr. Devine Mitchell. Is it Mitchell or Michelle?
It's Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Yeah, some people say Michelle.
But it's Mitchell,
Mitchell, yeah.
Devine Mitchell. And I hear he's related to, what's his name? Mitchell from America. Karagma? Mitchell? Vashon.
I'm not that I know of. But
I'm just playing. Welcome, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here, finally.
I mean, this man, chill guy. When I said, bro, please come. Oh, come. I'm like, I see. They're starting. Hey, these musicians.
We've got things to say.
But I'm disappointed, man.
Why?
On all your DVDs.
Yeah.
It's either the Kangol cap or your cap. And today you just decided to leave it at home.
Hey man, a lot of people ask me about this cap. Even now when I go into malls and stuff and people recognize me, then they're like, are you that guy? I'm like, which guy? I know what they're trying to say, but I'm like, which guy? They're like, the guy, man, the guy with the cap.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's me. So like, where's the cap? I'm like, hey. But on the flip side, there were some people that thought I'm wearing that cap because the hair was going.
Oh, you're both.
Yeah, so when that phase ended, I just had to prove them that I still have.
No, you had to prove that the hairline is strong, eh?
The hairline is still there.
Do you know, I thought this stage image thing is a big thing.
Yeah.
I remember one time, Bonzo, we booked Dr. Victor.
Yeah.
In Secunda.
Okay.
And he was supposed to go on stage. And I said, okay, Dr. Victor, you're going on now. He says, no. What happened? I'm waiting for my hat in my room. The audience had to, he says, I'm not going on.
Wow.
Said, no, my hat. So the guy, I think the son, ran upstairs, brought the hat, and he went on.
Yeah.
Then we gave him hope, Joanna.
Wow. You know, the hat thing actually started very weird.
Yeah.
Because at that time, when I started wearing it, I was getting a lot of calls for DVDs. So what we do as musicians while we're rehearsing, you know, in that few days before the recording, we could cut our hair and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So there was this one time where my hair was long. So I was like, Ish, I can't go on stage like this, man.
Yeah.
So I bought the hat. My wife bought the hat, and I wore it for that DVD. And for some reason, it happened again. And then people assumed that it was some sort of a trademark. But that's how it started. And then I just kept on wearing it because people started recognizing me with the hat.
Okay.
Like, are you the guy with the hat?
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
No, that's dope. I thought you were hiding something.
No,
I know I see the headline is not like mine. Mine is gone, Baba.
Yeah, well, maybe in a few years I'll start.
Yeah,
for now, I'm still strong.
Yeah, in 2 years' time, I can see you. My hair must rest in peace. So, for those who don't know Devine Mitchell, he's a guitarist, a profound guitarist. He gigs. This man gigs, eh? No, this man gigs. This man gigs. How many passports do you have? That are full.
I have a new one now. Well, this new one is not so full. It's still fresh. It's maybe a few months old.
Few months?
Yeah. It's a few months. I don't have I didn't have a lot of passports. Maybe, let me not guess, maybe 3 or 4 ones that went.
Yeah. And I was actually disappointed that you didn't study music. I thought you studied music. What did you study, BSc?
I did. After school, I did BSc.
Yeah.
And then I actually worked.
The blood.
Yeah, for the South African Blood Service for a good 5 years. But I was gigging in between until around 2005 when I was playing with Malaika. They were very busy. So I had to make a decision. The decision to leave and do music full time started before that. I was contemplating should I for a good year or 2.
Yeah.
But when I got the Malaika gig,
I was busy.
Dude, they gave me dates. I was like, my supervisor at work was like, you don't have leave left, my brother. You must decide what are you going to do. And then I just decided, you know what, I can always come back. You know, so I left. That was 2006, early 2006.
Do you know
2005 actually, December.
At that time, I remember the first time I saw you on stage with Malaika.
Yeah.
It was in Oudtshoorn.
I remember.
Remember when you guys played also, and Monet was playing with you guys.
Monet was, yeah.
And then you guys arrived there. I'm like, so Oudtshoorn, for those who don't know, is an Afrikaans festival.
Yeah.
Like, they brought Malaika. And then you guys heard, what's that song? Destiny. Afrikaans people, Afrikaners.
Lost their minds.
They lost it. I was like, what? Like Malaika, that's when I started having respect for those people because I knew they were good, but I never thought you guys would rock a Afrikaans crowd.
We did like everything that we can think of.
The Kaka and Ka Festival.
Dude, we did Opi.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy.
Nah?
Yeah.
Do you still play with Monet?
Monet is in Cape Town now.
Yeah.
He's doing well, but we see each other from time to time, and I'm in Cape Town or he comes to Joburg. We haven't played together in a while.
Nah.
Because, post-COVID, a lot of us went different directions. He moved back to Cape Town.
So you were selling things once upon a time?
He's doing well now, business-wise.
Really?
Healthcare stuff. He's still gigging, but he's focusing on the business, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And he's doing well.
You know, I was in the same music class with Monet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Monet.
What's his place name in Pretoria?
Ockham School of Music.
Ockham,
yeah. That's where.
That's when I met him. He was
Really?
around 2005ish, somewhere there.
Yeah.
He was still there.
Because he then played for Mafikizolo. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, one day I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
And I saw your life, how you guys live. I was like, done with music. I'm done with music.
Yeah, it was hectic then. But interestingly, of all the musicians I met that time, like how you saying he was surprised that I didn't study music.
Yeah.
I was around all these musicians that actually studied music. Bego, Spoo and them.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys, it's guys that actually studied
music
officially. So, and also that same reaction I got was like, guys were like, so where did you study? I'm like, no, I'm a church boy, man. That's where I got this thing.
But even your playing, you know, when I look at the guitar, and we're going to go into it a bit later, how I got introduced to guitar. Somebody needs to play the lead, ne?
Yeah.
Play those lines.
The lines, yeah.
And until I met a person who can actually play the chords, and go according to music, because guitar was not so big in the black community,
and especially in the gospel.
In the gospel, ne?
Yeah, it was keyboards.
It was keyboards.
Yeah.
So when guitar came, we never really got, you know. The only person I knew was Chunky.
Yeah.
Joyous celebration. Chunky. He's still waiting to hear what You're currently studying accounting now?
Not currently. I have a backlog because music kept me so busy. I did 2 years of it.
But you still want to study accounting?
I still want to look as part of. I always like learning. I'm addicted to learning, so I'm always looking for new challenges outside of music. So I did a 2-year BCom, which I didn't finish, so I still have a year to go. But because of music commitments, I didn't finish it.
Do you want to put your guitar down? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, never. I don't think that will ever happen.
Yeah?
But music industry is so broad, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think I would call it maybe reposition myself. If I can call it that. Look, gigging is just one part of music, which I've done a lot of. So I'm not saying I want to stop completely, but like I said, maybe just diversify. There's other aspects of music which I haven't done yet, which I still want to do.
What is there more to do? I remember well, Zanin, we're driving back from Zanin after Lungi's DVD.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know who, we played a track. And we're like, oh man, it's a nice track. They were like, bro, you played on this track. Could not even remember.
I couldn't remember.
So, let me see. Who have you not played with besides Joyous Celebration? You played with everyone. This man.
Some of these are memories.
Nah.
So, I must actually get a wall like this as well. Just to, I don't know where I'm going to get these covers from, but a lot of the stuff is making me remember stuff that I've forgotten.
So this man boasts over 16 years in the professional musician.
Well, full time it's about
full time. Obviously, when you said 8 to 5, I'm done.
It was never 8 to 5 when I was working at the blood service. It was shift work, which is why I could afford to do gigs in between. I was playing Simpiwe Dana full time and still had my job.
Yeah.
So what I would do is, if I needed to be on duty on the weekend, and maybe Simpiwe or KB, whoever I was playing with at a gig, I would either arrange a swap with one of my colleagues to sub for me at work.
So
or as long as I had my hours, I was cool. But if I couldn't sub, I would take leave for that.
Leave. I see.
So that's how I did it until I was pushed into a corner by Malaika. They were my supervisor was like, "No, I see what you're doing, but
it won't work."
Decide, it's not gonna work.
So Simpiwe Dana, was that your first gig?
No.
But it's the first gig that you got fired, eh?
Yeah, maybe. Fired unofficially, if I can call it that. Yo, it's a crazy story, bro. Musicians deal with a lot of stuff.
Please tell us.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know that I was fired.
Oh, you were fired?
Yeah. I wasn't the only one. I was playing with Alvin Bass. We were both sort of fired.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can talk about that story.
Go for it.
So at the same time, I was playing with other artists as well.
Yeah.
I don't remember if that's post Malaika. I think so. So I was playing with KB as well. So what happened is, Simpiwe at the time, she
She was the lady of the time.
Yes, she was. That was a peak. So when that album, Ndi Ready, came out, she was getting a lot of bookings. But there was a lot of turnover band-wise in that band during that time. But when, for some reason, she liked me, like came into that band. But what happened is she wanted to rehearse a lot, man. Like she would call random rehearsals, which was cool to get the music tight. But that specific day, I was like, we had a gig with KB on that day. It was a big gig. I think it was at Market Theatre, you know that?
Yes.
She was, I won't say curtain raising. She was, well, let me, just for the sake of that, call it curtain raising for Tamia.
Yes, it was a Tamia gig, yes.
So we were prepping for that gig. And that gig happened on the same day she wanted to rehearse. So in my mind, I was like, there's no way I'm canceling a gig to go attend a rehearsal of music that we basically know. You know?
And the money is,
yeah, I mean, you're not getting paid for a rehearsal. You know, it's in the structure.
Yeah,
you get paid for a gig, not for a rehearsal.
For rehearsal, yeah.
So myself and Alvin, both of us from Simpiwe's band, were booked for the KB gig. So in my mind, I'm like, this is a no-brainer. So obviously, I must do the gig. But in her mind, she was like, these are my band members. You don't just take another gig.
So you're not exclusive to them?
Yeah. No, in my mind, I'm like, whoever books me first, it's obviously. So we went and did the KB gig. So me in my mind, I already told myself, because she had, at the time, she had a very hectic manager, which is, I don't want to go there, but she was dating a very controversial guy, which was also managing her. So in my mind, me taking the gig, I already told myself, no, that gig
is done.
It's done. I'm not even going to phone and ask for dates. And but Alvin, I think somehow you felt that you still needed to do the gig. He told me the story afterwards that he was called and asked to come. I don't know if I can put this out in the public, but basically, he said,
was it play for free?
That play for free thing, it was like, to compensate, you need to do. I'm like, I'm not doing that nonsense.
Forget it. And you were getting booked.
I was getting booked, so I was like, for me, to lose that gig wasn't a big thing at the time. I'm like, I'll get another call.
I mean, it's you, Sabu, Sinigiwe, and Bega.
Yeah.
You guys should get endorsement from one gospel.
At the time when that happened, I was like, I didn't know which call to take and which one to really like.
100%.
You know, it was that phase where you were still taking double bookings and like doing weird things, bro. Driving from Polokwane to Secunda and from Secunda to Kimberley, dropping the car. You know, those kind of things. We were doing those kind of things then. So work was like all over the place.
I want to check with you how you managed to keep the consistency. It's consistency because, hey man, your bookings have not declined. You are one of the most booked. I know now there's a bit more guitarists. There's
more guitarists, and also a lot of things have changed in the industry.
Yeah.
Apart from there's a lot of guitarists now. You know, stuff like the DVD boom, if I can call it, phase. It sort of died.
But it's still there now.
It's not as hectic as it was, bro.
Yeah.
I remember doing like, there was a time when I easily be doing 3 DVDs in 1 month. Like multitasking rehearsals. I'm like, guys, I can't do that one. I'll meet you there on the 3rd day. You know, those kind of things. It's not like that anymore, which means that somehow things have evened out. People are not pushing like DVDs, although a lot of projects are still happening in the gospel space. Yeah, but it's not as hectic as it was then. It's not as hectic as... And plus, people assume that I was only doing gospel. I was not only doing gospel. I was doing Giselle. I was doing... later on...
Did Giselle Brothers, you did, what do you call it? Mikasa?
I did Mikasa.
And what's... what do you call those guys? Denim.
I did Denim.
Yeah, Denim.
Like, so for me... I was sort of living a double life, if you can call it that, in the music space. So a lot of people assume I was doing gospel because I was doing a lot of secular stuff as well at the same time. So every weekend, literally, I was out.
Maybe I'm judging the book by its cover, but you seem very disciplined, you know? I've never seen you out of character, even with the gigs I've done and you're there, you know? I've never seen you drink or smoke. Or with the girls. No. The other ones I see them. But I've never seen those characteristics with you. Was it a choice?
It was a choice. I was also scared of, based on what I've seen early coming into the industry and the stories I've heard. Apart from me, obviously, being a Christian, raising.
Hey, when you said Christian, you went down there.
No, because it's a vague term.
Oh,
I mean, somebody
100%,
that's not assigned a religion also calls themselves Christian.
100%, yeah.
So yeah, I consider myself
born again Christian.
Born again Christian, yes. So, but that doesn't obviously mean that I'm perfect, and so I can't say that it was because of the type of person I was. I was scared to make those same mistakes, but also I got a lot of advice earlier on. I think also when I first joined the corporate stuff, I was like, yo, the things musicians get up to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. And also, alcohol was never my thing, really, because of my father and that background, the way he was addicted to alcohol. So it was like, no, I don't want to go there. So yeah, I mean, I do take red wine from now and then, but it's very minimal. I won't go out of my. Let me say, I won't go out of my way. Never.
Oh, okay.
Like to. So that was the last thing that I needed to worry about. Going off track.
Yeah.
In this industry, drugs and all of those things.
And the girls.
The girls.
But, when you play with Mikasa, those girls, they come after that. What's her name? Jay. They come after Jay, and they're leftovers after the band.
Well, you're exposing industry secrets now, my brother. But yeah, no. I've been with my current wife for very long now. So, and I mean, I'm married. I have children. So I was a family man for a long time.
No, I know. I used to see.
So I think earlier on, I needed to make very crucial decisions to say, listen. So, you know how it is, peer pressure also in the industry, even if it's not something that you wanted to do, like just by virtue of being around certain people.
Correct. Especially at the club gigs, eh?
So what I would do, end up, it's skills you pick up, like, so what I would do, if I realize, if I entertain this night after the gig, I'm going to end up in problems. So I would disappear without even saying, guys, I'm out.
And you just go sleep.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey guys, my phone, I need to charge it. But in my mind, I'm like, from here, I'm going straight home.
Straight. But what happens when you're out, like you're in Durban, Cape Town, overseas? Then there's that culture of after you play, the organizer will take you to a club, maybe you do 2 songs there, and then you chill. Drinks are free. Yeah.
No, I do. Obviously, a lot of what we do is you're not just booked because you play. You also have to get along with the people that 100%, you with.
Yeah.
And most of the time, you spend more time off stage with the people you travel with than on stage. I mean, the gig is like an hour.
45
but
minutes.
You travel for 6 hours, so you have to be social as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like coping people skills that you learn that I do go to the after parties.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one year we did the metros and the guys went in like morning hours. But for me, I think, let me not say, I think at some point I realized that I know.
Was there a time where you said, I'm out of character here? What am I doing?
I've always been conscious of my behavior. And I think I care a lot what people think. So
I see.
More then than now. But I think the last thing I wanted is for my family to get news or a photo of me being out of character. So it was more that than me. So I was like, if my mother can see this now, she'll be disappointed.
And you've been married I remember I used to go to Clearwater Mall and I'd see you and your wife going to Pick and Pay.
Yeah, she used to work there at the F&B.
Yeah, so I used to see you guys there every time. But you'd never say anything. Your wife was the one talking. I'm like, hey.
She talks more than me. So, I'm a good listener.
You're a good listener. So, my brother, do you still go to church?
Yes,
do you still have a church that you serve at?
I do. I didn't always. When things got really hectic for me music-wise, there was a time where I didn't go to church. Although I ended up being in church because of the people I play with. When you're doing gigs with Sali, Mashlangu, we'll be in PE or Cape Town or wherever. And you know what they do normally for the Sunday? They plan to perform at a church.
Yeah.
So by virtue of that, I would end up being in church.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a church that I belonged to for a long time. But recently, for the past 5 years, I'm back at a church, local church, that I love so far. It's been 5 years now, 2019.
Where is this?
In Aldos.
In Aldos.
Yeah, I decided just to go back home, and people that you know from way back, that you grew up with, that you know forever, that know your family. Yeah, so I did. There was a phase where I was church hopping, chasing, the clouds, and But eventually, I was like, no, let me just find a church that familiar people that are, I can grow and be communal with,
Do you still stay in Aldos?
No, I don't stay in Aldos. I stay in the south still.
Yeah.
Lenasia, but not in Aldos. Yeah.
Oh, Lenasia.
Yeah, my wife is from there, so that's how I ended up.
In Lenasia?
Yeah, settling there.
Lenasia's got this church called Hare Krishna. It's big there when they do their festivals.
Yeah.
Like Lenasia closes down.
Yes.
So
it's a very multicultural place, actually. So it's interesting what happens there. There's Christians, there's Hindus, there's the Muslims. There's so what happens is, if there's, for example, Diwali, everyone celebrates, not just the Hindus. So even the Muslims, it's families that are related. And so it's actually nice to see. Even the Christians will see them on the streets. So it's a very inbred community.
Yeah.
It's like, but for some reason they respect each other's beliefs.
No, they do.
Yeah.
And their acha is the best, eh? They sell proper
The food,
acha.
my brother.
The food you can't go wrong there.
You can't.
Yeah, they sell a Gatsby there. Yeah. Proper one, eh?
No. Take away food. No, Lenasia.
No, it's proper. Do you still play at church?
Yeah, I play at church. The same church I'm talking about. I'm at PGMI.
Yeah.
In Aldos.
Yeah.
So I'm been there for the last 5 years, like uninterrupted.
Yeah.
Like you call it that.
Oh no, but that's 5 years. 5 years. 5 years is a good number.
Yeah, I decided I needed to have a church where I fellowship every Sunday, and not just this back and forth thing because how I justified it is like I do gospel, so one way or another I'm going to be in church.
Yeah.
But at some point I was like, no, man, let me find a church where I fellowship every Sunday, where I can also sort of give back. So yeah, that's how I ended up back at church.
Guys, did you hear a musician says giving back?
Yeah, not in a way that I really wanted to, but I think that was the basis.
Yeah.
And people see us on TV and they think we are like these high flyers, unapproachable. Because even it's interesting, at the church where I am now, our pastor is people that I know from way back. A lot of the congregation are people that know me from when I was still a child. And then I ended up back at church via another musician friend of mine, Carlo, bass player.
Yeah.
He was playing there before me. So he asked me, where are you church-wise? This was 2019, about early 2019. I was like, hey, I don't have a church, man. Church, I also not in the mood because, church politics. That story of church.
The fights between musicians and pastors.
So part of why I wasn't at the church also was part of that. But he called me, was like, no, man, where are you? I'm there in Aldos, come through. And then that conversation happened a few times. Eventually I went. And then when I got there, the people were like, he said to me, tells me the story. It was like the people were asking him, how did you manage to get this guy? I'm like, but guys, this is home for me. You're making it seem like it was so hard for me to come back. It was home. So if anyone had called me and said, listen,
come
we have
through.
a church in Aldos, it's close to home, come through, I would have gone.
Do you know you're playing? Ne? I want to go now into your music a bit. You're playing, there was a guitarist I used to love. He used to play for 4Play before he left.
Liritano. Yeah, one of my favorites.
When I hear you play, ne? I hear that Liritano, not that invasive playing. He's in his pocket, but when he comes out, you can hear him. Ne?
Yeah.
But even a bit of Jonathan Butler.
You're mentioning my influences now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, in the colored community, maybe it's something you don't know.
Yeah.
if you call yourself a guitarist as a child, the uncles would be like, okay, play for 7th Avenue. Let's see. If you can't play 7th Avenue,
you can't play.
That's what my dad used to, and his friends used to do. Like, you like, this lady can play guitar. They're like, play 7th Avenue. If you can play that, they're like, no, you can play.
It's quiet.
But if you can't, they're like, no, this lady must learn.
And then people like Jimmy Glulu, did they influence you?
Big influence. I remember buying a cassette of Jimmy Lulu, Echoes of the Past, a red. I was still a lighting when that album just came out. I was very new to playing music like at weddings and that type of thing. So when I heard Jimmy Lulu, I was like, this guy is from here. I remember when that album came out, I bought that cassette,
yes,
from ShopRite. It was a red one, Echoes of the Past, and I transcribed my brother. I tried to figure out, you know that thing where you stop and go, and like, what is it doing there? So I was trying out all those things that he was doing on Motherland and those songs.
So that was your education.
Your training was big. I mean, obviously church, because whoever's the happening guy in church, we all club around that guy and we try and figure out, show us some chords here and there. So it was that was the culture. And then the leader to know, foreplay was huge that time.
Ooh.
And it's interesting, we were cousins that learned together. So myself, they're not really into music anymore, but we started together. So what happened is, because we grew up in very strict religious homes, we were not allowed to play secular music.
Yes.
So it was Jimmy Swagger at that time and all the gospel stuff. So what we would do during the day, we would get these foreplay stuff and play during the day, like undercover. So that's how we learned. You know, it's the transcribing few of the songs that we could hear. What is he doing? So Leader to Know, the foreplay years was a big influence for me.
When they brought in, what's his name? When he left, that guitarist, I'm like, man, he's not doing it. What?
Chuck Loeb.
Yes.
Chuck Loeb is also one of my favorites. His solo
but his
albums.
blues, we see on his blues. Yeah, you can't touch him. But when with the stuff for foreplay, I just felt like it was a mismatch.
It is because of the reference of Leader to Know. But him in his own right, for me,
it's dope.
Inspirational player.
But playing with foreplay, it was a bit.
I mean, the stuff he did with Spyro Gyra and on his own, his solo albums, even Larry Carlton that joined later, foreplay. Also for me, a lot of people were like, nah, not for foreplay.
For foreplay,
But in his own right, he was one of my influences before he joined foreplay.
So for sure.
As a blues player, he was very strong.
And one thing you didn't touch on is, you know, the black culture, the black church, keyboard is a thing.
Yeah.
People don't know how much guitar is part of the colored culture. You know, the churches, they can rather have, in the past, they would rather have a guitar.
Yes.
And they'll sing along as long as there's a guitar.
Keyboard came second, my brother.
100%.
In the colored community, if you had a guy that could play guitar, I mean, 3-hour service can happen.
No problem. Without the instruments.
Without anything else.
But then, why is there no plethora of colored guitarists? Because
there is.
No, but there's mostly
don't know them.
Bassists and keyboard players and drummers.
In the colored community, my take is maybe not in Joburg.
Oh, yes.
But in Cape Town, there's a lot of guys that are playing guitar that are like highest level, are not known.
Yeah. So now, talking about playing guitar. So, was Solima Hlangu your first gospel artist you played with?
No.
Who was your first?
I actually started with Nezimu, but he was not well known then.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that was early 2000s. I started playing with Nay.
And but Soli was your biggest?
It was the first biggest
gig,
gospel artist,
So you said before Soli you played with Nay and?
Basically Nay in the professional space. But other than that, it was, the groups in our colored community that were not known. You play for this group and then you do a concert with this group. But none of them that
But the biggest names, Soli was
the first biggest name at the time, although Nay was sort of known, but he wasn't as big as when Soli blew up.
Yeah. Hey, Soli was big, eh?
Yeah.
You guys gigged, eh?
I know.
Was it Bafana who brought you there?
I played with Bafana at Simpuwe Dana.
Yeah.
Before I got
fired.
So he still carried on playing there.
Yeah.
But when the Soli thing came,
he's the one.
He called me. Because we still did stuff together, wedding gigs, and we were still working together.
Yeah.
But when Solly came and Solly said, listen, put me a band together, man.
Yeah.
These guys approved my thing,
Yeah.
Spirit Music.
Yeah.
And he called me.
Yeah.
He called me, called Monet,
Yeah.
called Kama.
No. It was
Vuyo.
Sabelo Masondo on bass.
No, that was the second album project. The first project was Vuyo.
Vuyo Shiburi. It was
Yes, but the initial call was myself and Monet.
Yeah.
Monet couldn't, he did a few rehearsals, I think.
Yeah.
But he couldn't do the gig because he was traveling to Cape Town or something. Then they called Vuyo. That's how Vuyo ended up in that gig.
Oh, yes. The
second one.
Obrigado.
Obrigado was Vuyo.
Yes.
The second album was, which one was that?
Wahamba Nati.
Mamba. I don't know what the title of the album, but the one we did at Carnival City.
Carnival
that
City. That was Sabelo.
The second one.
Yes. Brad, listen, I've been trying to get Bafana, man. What happened to that guy? That man just, after the Joyous gig, he just vanished from the gospel scene. Does he not play anymore?
Bafana doesn't really want to play, as far as I know. But Bafana was very intentional. He didn't just vanish. He said, I'm done with this. Like, he's been saying it for a while, and he'd be like,
Tired of 1.5.
guys, I don't want to do the gigging thing. But he was very business minded. So music was not his one and all, as far as I remember. So he made a conscious decision that, guys, in the next year or so, that's how he said it. I'm not doing gigs. Don't call me. So as far as I know, he's pastoring a church now.
With the wife.
I've been there when they're launching. He does call me from time to time when they have events and conferences to help out. But he's a full-on pastor now.
Yeah, no, I saw.
He's a full-on pastor.
They even got a building.
Yes,
it's like a warehouse.
They're doing like good stuff there in the East Rand.
Yeah.
Great stuff for the kingdom in the East Rand.
Yeah.
And I do get calls now and then. But at his church, he doesn't play.
Yeah.
I know he's now and then he reluctantly gets calls to do albums.
Yeah. But he's a solid drummer, that guy.
He's a very solid drummer, man.
I
mean, a lot of guys still miss his playing because of the way,
telling you.
His feel and everything. Even me as well. I mean, still love his playing.
Man, that man.
Still love his playing. I think if he had to get on the kit now, he'll still be like top notch.
But it's not even the chops. Solid.
It's about the feel.
The feel. Oh my goodness.
The pocketing, the feel.
One of my best drummers. One of my best drummers.
Yeah.
So now talking about gigging with other guys now. No? Obviously, I mean, needless to say, you're colored.
Yeah.
And the guys you play with.
Yeah.
You know, gospel, it's changing now, but gospel was imported from KZN.
Yeah.
And even the language, the mannerism around gospel music, how they speak.
Yes.
Zulu.
Yeah.
Like Zulu is gospel in South Africa. How did you fit in? And hey man, I don't want to say what I want to say, but
say what you say.
Some of them, man, the English, is not good everywhere, So a lot of them will speak in Zulu.
Yeah.
And I know you from Eldos, but the dialect, obviously.
Yeah.
How long did it take you, and were you comfortable being in that space when these people are chit-chatting, even though you could make out what they're saying?
Yeah.
But that you are forgotten. Hey, guys, I'm here,
I get that question a lot, but it is not something that ever bothered me. Like, it wasn't awkward. It was never awkward. I think the guys that I played with always made, I don't know if it was intentional, but I never felt left out. Even when the lingo was like, maybe the guys are speaking a lot of Zulu. I could pick up stuff here and there. And if there's something that was said that was really interesting and I couldn't hear, I would ask, listen, what is about? But I've also been in other scenarios where it was vice versa. Where, for example, I would be doing a gig with Lulu Maduna in a colored band.
Yeah.
And at some point he was like, guys, your Afrikaans is going.
Oh, he's the only one.
Yeah. And then he would say, then I would realize, let's change swap to Afrikaans for his sake, for example.
Yeah.
So I understood the dynamic. But for me, because I always wanted to learn, and so I'd pick up the phrases. I think it was challenging because of the, what do you call it, the slang, the Zulu slang.
Yes.
Because it's not proper Zulu. So
course,
sometimes you're like, okay, what are they actually saying? Because this is not pure Zulu.
Yeah.
So, but I ended up picking up some of the stuff. But it was interesting. For me, it was music, man. Music brought us together. No. So I never felt like I'm the odd one out.
But
people would point it out that you are the only. Do you know that you're the only colored?
Yeah, Umlungu.
Yes. So it's like Umlungu where? Oh, it's me.
So no, Devine, I feel like you're telling the truth, but you're not telling the whole truth.
In terms of
the truth is, and from my observation, I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Tribalism in the gospel music.
Yeah.
Is big.
Me, I interpreted it as a clique. I didn't take it as a racial thing. I knew there was cliques. Definitely, there was a KZN clique. Yeah. There was a time I was playing with Nubego and the KZN crew. Yeah. Someone actually said it to me. I didn't realize that that's what they are saying. It's like they were talking about you was part of the Durban crew. They were telling me I'm like, Durban? I'm not from Durban. But when I thought about it, I'm like, they're referring to the guys that are doing a lot of projects with.
Because you look at typical Ngubego, it's Ngubego, it's Bega, it's
carry on.
And then it's Bega, it's that guy, second keys, what's his name?
Sia. Not Sia, well, that was before.
Even Sia, but the guy now, he was playing on Idols as well. The quiet guy. Forget his name. Okay, Sawi's from here, but he's also Zulu, you know. Zulu. And the BVs, all KZN. Yeah. So you could see that you were the not really the odd one out, but you were sticking out, you know.
I was, but it was something that was pointed out to me. That's something that I felt.
Yeah.
But I thought about it more because people were saying it after a while. But it wasn't something that I felt, I'm here with all these Durbanites. Because there was a time where I was in Durban like every month for a project. For sure. Doing stuff there. And then I was like, someone was asking, I don't remember who, but they was like, what's it with you and these Durbanites? Why are you always... and why have they welcomed you in? I'm like, it's like a ceremony, you know.
You were initiated.
Where I was initiated, and then I passed the initiation.
One thing I'll give those guys from Durban, no?
Yeah.
There's no doubt that they're very good.
Yeah.
Their craft is proper. And they don't just allow anyone in. Yeah. But if you're good, they'll take you in.
Yeah, for me, I think that's also part of why I enjoy those years so much. It was about the music. I mean, when I got the call from Mbata, I was not thinking who else is there and where are they from. I was like, these are just a group of musicians that he's comfortable working with and that he wants to do this project. That's literally how I thought of it.
Yeah, because if you look in South Africa, right, sometimes you get colored bands.
Yeah.
You look at Idols.
Idols SA.
Idols SA. You know, it's okay, that's a colored band. Yeah. And then from time to time you'll see Loiso.
Yes.
Predominantly colored.
The band. Yeah.
So it seems like people are grouping themselves. Although things are different now, are better now.
It is different, yeah.
You know, when I saw Lebo Morolo going to play with him, I was like, huh? Tswana man, trusted by Zulus. Which one is this one? But then I saw that, no. If they're very obviously protective of their craft, but if you're good enough, they'll let you in.
Yes, from an outside point of view, it looked like that, like it's a territorial thing.
Yeah,
because I got that same thing also when we were in Polokwane. It's like there was also a different clique there of guys that are coming from. And at some point, they were talking about. We'll show them. And I was talking about the Durban crew. I'm like, guys, what are you?
What are you talking about?
I think I was a little bit naive to figure out that that's what they're saying. But for me, I knew there was cliques. There was a Mbata clique. There was a Joyous clique. There was the Idols SA clique. But it hit me afterwards that people might see this as a racial thing. I thought of it as a clique. I didn't think that it's territorial, because at some point, even the Cape Town guys, I would hear them talk about the guys from KZN and be like, no, those ones will show them when it comes to gospel. They don't know yet. No, those kind of talks. But eventually I was like, no. So this is a big clique. But for some reason, everyone is letting me in into the clique.
I think it speaks to your talent and gift and how unique you are in your playing. You know, before you. I could get guitars, but real gospel guitar, I'm like, how does he, especially when you started playing music from Polokwane.
Yeah.
That music, I don't care how good you are, you must know how to play it.
Yeah.
And what I need to ask you is, how did you then learn? I know people say music is music. I say yes, but for you to get the core of it, you really need to, I'd say, submerge yourself in the culture as well. You know, in Guyana or Zanin, the way the guitar sounds is it's not like here.
It's not like here.
KZN, the way the guitar sounds is not like here. How did you, or was it a matter of, I need to check all these styles?
I listened. Obviously, I think I also got this question a lot. I must tell you the backstory of the solid thing. So there was a little bit of internal politics. Apparently, there was a call made that KK's band should do Solly's recording initially. And somebody from that stable actually said to me long after Solly came out, that we were a bit skeptical that you were like colored boy and this type of music. How is he going to do?
Yes.
But then when the whole Solly thing blew up, they came back and they were like, I know we had our doubts, but you made it happen. So thanks for that. So for me, it was a field thing. Look, I think what a lot of people doesn't know is that my heritage is mixed. So I'm not what people would call maybe a typical colored or that has. My grandmother from my father's side, Sotho woman from Alex.
Really?
Yes, and my grandmother is a Pedi woman from Bushbuck Ridge, my maternal grandmother. So I grew up around black people.
Yeah.
I grew up in Eldos, yes.
Yeah.
But every holiday I was in Bushbuck Ridge.
Oh yes. Oh, no. Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah. So it wasn't an adjustment.
There's a dash of black there.
That was when Solly heard that backstory. I was like, okay, makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So it was a field thing that was natural for me to adapt with, and because I had some from time to time, a lot of my colored friends in Cape Town would be like, "Hey man, how do you do this thing?
Yeah,
you always around these black guys." And what. That's how they'd say it. And I'll be like, what do you mean? It's music that brings us together.
Of course.
If I get the call, I'm there. I mean, we get along on and off stage.
Yeah.
What's the issue? It's maybe a language barrier. But they don't have the same, maybe, heritage that I have.
Of course.
I'm a colored, Monet's a colored, but his background is different from mine.
Cape Town colored,
Yes, it's different.
It's way different.
It's different.
And tell me, before we move on, do you still pay for 1.5? No.
Look, in the beginning, we were hungry to play. Man.
No, of course.
We wanted to do like 10 gigs in a weekend. But now it's different. Look, I won't say I'll never do it. I do get those calls from a friend. You know, like it depends, man. If it's somebody that I work with, like I don't want to call names now because I don't want to. Like if some of my producer friends, I'll get the call to put like if you call one of my producer friends and say, listen, I need a band. I don't have money, my brother. They have a good relationship, but I'm now the third party.
Oh.
Me, I'm doing it as a favor to
him.
Okay. Like, hey, Devine, there's this gig that must happen, man. These guys that don't have money.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. Then I do it. But from someone that I don't know from above, so I'm like, no.
1.5.
It's not unless I see value in the relationship, like going forward.
I see.
Because not everything is about the cash, you know. I've done, like, I don't want to talk about how much we actually got paid for the Solid DVD. But the amount of work I got from that DVD, it's like basically sort of set me up in the gospel space. But how much I got paid for that DVD, you won't believe.
Say it!
No, I don't want to say it, but it was very little.
It was very little.
But in hindsight, it was worth it because the calls that I got from
there,
that DVD.
You guys nailed it there.
Yeah.
No. And tell me, were you part of the band that did the first Zahara CD?
Yes.
I
am Zahara, basically.
Yeah.
On that first album.
How lolly.
Yeah, lolly. I did all the guitars, the acoustic guitars, electric guitars. The only thing I didn't do is that solo on Lolly because they've already pre-recorded it they took it from a different recording and they added it there.
So now tell me, is it true that when that album happened, it was like, no man, guys, come in the studio, let's just record ideas, and next thing it was released?
Not really like that. We knew we were doing an album.
Yeah.
But it happened like very quick. We were 2 days in studio for that album. So,
but that's why people thought, no, man, we're just recording ideas.
No,
Did you know that we're doing an album here?
We knew that we were doing.
Oh, okay.
We got the call. I personally got the call from Jakes.
Yeah.
But he was co-producing with Robbie Malinga at the time. We recorded it at Master Max in Midrand. So we knew that it was an album. We didn't know that we were going to have issues with credits and payments and stuff like that afterwards. But yeah, and I knew that this is going to be a big album. I knew while I was doing it that this is going to be a massive, massive album because of the songs and how she just is a timid girl that was with voice notes in the studio, and we interpreted the songs without like sort of losing the original feel of it.
Yeah.
And I was in the booth. We recorded guides, then I did the acoustics, and then came back, did the electrics, and we did like 2 or 3 takes until we were happy, till the guys were happy. And that was it. The band was literally like in studio for 2 days.
For 2 days? It was you, Sabu, and?
If I remember correctly, it was me, guitars, Sabu, drums, Kaya, Tiani, bass, Goli Tabete.
Oh, on keyboards, yes.
That was the band.
Yeah. So the DVD recording, why was that not? Why?
Look, there was a little bit of beef after the studio album because we were not credited.
And credited, yes.
We were not paid on time. We were not credited. I think the big thing was not so much the payment, it was the credit.
Oh, yes.
That we were not credited on the album because that was around the time when Needle Time royalties became a thing, and we were not credited on the sleeve, and it was a mission to get them to just write a letter and say these are the guys that played on the album. That's all we wanted. So that obviously for our some of the guys wanted sponsorship. So if you could say, listen, I'm actually playing on the biggest album in the country right now. It's not nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's all we wanted.
And you ended up getting that?
No.
Ooh.
Not even till today. We didn't. So when the DVD came about, I think we got the call, if I remember correctly, but what they were offering was so little, and that beef of not getting the I was like, no, let's not do this thing. So they ended up getting a band together, and according to me, there might be a different story doing the rounds.
But it was not the same, man. Because I bought the DVD.
It wasn't the same because, the energy was different with that combo. And we didn't know it was going to be like that. Correct. But while we were recording the songs with the Lollywood album, we knew like, we were even arguing like, this is the hit.
Yeah.
The other guys, Robbie was like, no, this song is the hit. And then, a few months later, without even, like after we've given up, like chasing this whole thing, I was at... we were picking up someone from a taxi rank in East London. I was doing a gig with Giselle. Yeah. And while I was at the taxi rank, I could hear Lollywood blasting all over the taxi rank. I'm like, those are my guitars mostly.
But you didn't get paid enough for credited.
So and then the album was blasting. Taxi ranks, it was playing all over in the shops when you're shopping,
Yeah. So tell me, bruh, you are obviously one of the sought out guitarists in the country. People say you're a millionaire, So, is that a yes?
A millionaire? That's the first time I'm hearing about this.
I see you quiet. So people, obviously, you make more money than an average musician. Your taxes and your SARS and do you have a company? Do they pay into a company and you pay?
I have a company. I don't know if this is a good thing to say on camera. But musicians in general, when it comes to their money management, we are very bad. I must just be the first person to say
100%.
When it comes to SARS, SARS probably looking for most of us. But we are a bit more educated now in terms of getting those things sorted.
Correct.
Mine is not 100% yet, but we are at least aware. When we were making all that money in the beginning, we didn't even know that, listen, you need to register a company and do all your affairs through this.
Correct.
Through this company and sort out your SARS things. So, and not just that, it's also things like having insurance. Because we travel, my wife was on me. She was like, dude, you're on the road every weekend. You can't tell me you don't have a life cover.
Correct.
What must happen if
something happened to you? Yes.
So she sensitized me in a big way to those kind of things, having a retirement annuity. Because those are not things we think about when the money's rolling in.
When it's rolling in.
You're just thinking cars and townhouses. And so the pressure to even buy my first home, it was something that came from my wife's side. She was like, dude, we can't be renting forever.
That's true. And the reason I'm saying this is I'm trying to conscientize musicians out there, SARS, guys, is coming, eh? So I've had the privilege to sit with people who work with SARS and the AI they use with SARS and how they monitor bank accounts. So musicians, you get $5,000 here, $2,000 here, 1.5 there, and it comes in and as much as it fluctuates, but you are still liable for tax.
Yes.
So I don't know how to spread the message further than telling the guys, get your affairs in order. It's simple. Register a company, get paid into a company, draw a salary, pay PAYE, pay.
Yeah.
Like as simple as doing that, because I remember when I was doing my taxes now, they were questioning me about things of 2009.
Yeah.
So they're actually going back in records because you must know, SARS has got transactions from all the banks.
Yes.
So they are watching. So I'm
They
trying
are.
to plead with guys.
Yeah,
please.
and we need a lot of those reminders as we go on because we tend to forget. I think when this really hit me is when my wife and I were trying to buy a house.
House, exactly.
So it was like crunch time now.
Correct.
Like account.
Exactly.
So I needed to find an accountant that was willing to look at, I think it was 3 or 5 years worth of, and a lot of those things I couldn't account for.
Correct.
Because, an artist would just pay you 10K and knows reference. And then 3 years later, I can't even remember what was that for.
Exactly.
And this guy was like, my brother, you need to remember, what was this about?
Exactly.
Because I need to put it on
Put
paper.
it together. But if you make it a monthly thing, whether you've made 100,000 a month, but you know that my salary is 30,000 rands.
Yeah.
You can take that to the bank and say, I've got a consistent income,
You can. I think we're a little bit more sensitized to that now, especially the guys that are gigging a lot. Because what happened is when you wanted to buy a car, the bank was like, but now you don't have a salary.
Exactly.
What must happen? So because of that, it wasn't because they wanted to get their face order.
They wanted a car.
Let me say because we wanted to buy cars and stuff.
And houses and whatnot.
Yes, so that pressure came from there to say, listen, you don't have a salary advice.
Correct.
Although certain artists were very helpful, because we were doing a lot of work with them, they would be like, okay, this guy's getting so much from me. I'm willing to vouch for an average of so much.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's still something that we need to sort out.
Nah.
Yeah,
no,
probably.
but because now, come on, you can't have a net of 100,000 like yourself every month, and you don't.
Wow, I wish.
And you don't. And you don't.
It fluctuates. I think also because it fluctuates.
Yeah.
And more so now post COVID or during COVID, for a lot of musicians, they're like, why must I sort this thing out? Things are not looking that grand. And because music is seasonal, there are months where the guys are making that kind of money, and then it's living. It's an extreme because you can make 100K in 1 month, and then January of that next year you make 6,000. Yeah. You know what I mean? So management is a big thing, not just for us. I mean, anyone in the creative space that's a freelancer.
The government wants their piece, eh? The government wants their piece. So, my brother, I want to talk about a very sensitive topic right now, right? The last time I spoke, I introduced this topic. Hey, Patrick Duncan gave me a look, eh? So, obviously, the elections are coming up, and the Zulus now have got the MK party now. Zulus also have got Inkatha Freedom Party.
Yeah.
White people have got DA, and now the colored people So there used to be this notion that no, but the colored people want to be black when it suits them, but when things are going fine, they want to be white.
Yeah.
How do you respond to those kind of comments that you guys, you want to be black and white, you want to chow this side and this side? How do you respond to people making that kind of comments?
Well, it's obviously a generalization.
Yeah.
First of all, there may be instances where that is true. Where that is true, for example, the demographic of colored people, let's say in the Western Cape, is different, as it's one in Joburg. In Cape Town, for example, a lot of the colored people are still loyal to the DA. And if I actually learned an interesting stat, I think just this week, a lot of people assume that 1994 that everyone voted for the ANC. In the Cape Province, the ANC actually didn't win. The Democratic Party had the most votes. And that means a lot of colored people voted for the Democratic Party.
Of course, yes.
And a lot of those people from the Democratic Party, I learned, actually became the DA. So the colored people actually have a long history with the DA, going back to 1994. So to answer your question, it's a mixed thing. Colored people are different in different provinces. For example, colored people in KZN, they don't do Afrikaans. They rather speak Zulu than Afrikaans.
Even the Indians there.
Yes, So there's those little things. So politically, for me, even 1994, I don't remember when was the first time I voted, but I voted ANC. And it was like, we are black,
Okay.
But some of that classification came from government. Like if you consider the fact that now, in this era that we are in, the government speaks about African in particular. We are all blacks, colored people. I don't mind being called black. I'm fine. For me, it's a blanket thing. I'm not going to fight to be white. I mean, it does make sense. So for me, referring to me as colored or black, it's the same thing. I don't mind.
Yeah.
But the government refers to me as not African because I'm colored. That's the policy. Do you understand what I mean?
I hear
so
you.
If we talk race, if you can put it that way, if you say, there's two black guys sitting there, I'm like, cool, we are two black guys. But the government refers to me as you are African in particular. I'm not African in particular. See? So, like I said, some people, the stigma is out there that there are some people that, colored people in the Western Cape that don't want to be governed by the ANC because it's a racial thing and they feel like, no, they'd rather be governed by white people. I get that. But there's a new sensitization that happened now with this 2024 elections. Colored people are feeling like, no, we need our own representation. Because we've been marginalized.
Of course.
During apartheid, and we've been marginalized under black government. So let's do our own thing and get our own representation. So there's other parties now like Patriotic Alliance, the Gaten McKenzie. There's the Good Party, which have been around, but they haven't been like very strong. There's now in the Western Cape, there's NCC. Under Fadil Adams. So this election is going to be very interesting. You must remember 60% of the demographic in Cape Town is colored people. And they are tired of the Democratic Alliance.
So colored people are tired of DA, white people, they're tired of ANC, black people. So
everyone is tired of everyone.
So do you think Gaten is your messiah?
I don't think of any political leader as a messiah. I think what I love about him, I admire him for reasons outside of politics as well. I've been following him before the Patriotic Alliance blew up. And what I loved about him is that he's a made man after he reformed his life and stuff like that, post his conviction and stuff like that. he shared information freely. Like he tells young South Africans how to make money.
Correct.
Like he gives that information freely.
The Hustler's Bible, his books.
So for me, I don't know any rich person on this level that goes out of his way to share information on how to make money and how to be an entrepreneur. Those times. So for those reasons, when he entered the ring politically, initially, that was 2013, and some of my friends were like, check this guy out. I'm like, no, I know this guy from the Zahara days. Kenny Konene. So initially they came out and they were like, we want to start a colored party. And initially I was like, this is not going to work. Demographically, we don't have the numbers. But when he changed his stance, I was like, yeah, no, now I can. So when he started saying, no, I actually want to represent all South Africans because I'm patriotic, then I bought into the vision. And not only because he's a colored guy, I listened to his policies. Most people don't really care about manifestos, to be honest. If you can give people basic service delivery, they're not interested in your manifesto. But I can tell you what's their manifesto. Yeah. For example, the Patriotic Alliance, without reading it, and because he's been very vocal about it.
What do you call it? I love bringing God back to the schools.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, anyone with a brain knows that South Africa has lost the moral compass. I mean, what are we even? Are we a secular state? Are we Christian?
Exactly.
We used to be referred to as a Christian country, but now can't really tell.
Yeah, and our national anthem is actually Christian.
I mean,
And where he loses me is his stance on illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
See, I'm pro-Africa.
Yeah.
I feel like Africa should be one.
Yeah.
I advocate for forget the borders. If we're gonna say we need to take away colonial setups, borders are the first things that need to go. I don't know. Obviously, I own a sound business. Moving from South Africa to Botswana to Zimbabwe with your gear, the amount of taxes you pay just to get across, and the amount of hassle, and that restricts us working together,
Yeah.
And the way he's dealing with foreigners, that abahambe stories, those are humans, man.
Yeah.
Those are humans, and fortunately, I've traveled in some African countries, and I've seen how dire the situation is, especially in Zimbabwe. There's some people who actually genuinely come here. I need medication. My mom is dying. My child is dying. And some people just need bread. Poverty is real out there. And I feel like the messaging around it, and we say we are black people who are one. We want to chase away our... Have you ever been to Zeerust in Botswana? It's like, this is Botswana, this is South Africa. It's not even a fence. The people live together. They've got kids this side and that side.
Yeah.
And how do we divide that? So I feel like he's losing me there. I feel like even if, everyone must be documented, but there's a right way of doing it. What's your thoughts around it?
I actually agree with his stance, but I'll tell you why. I think people are not hearing the same thing. Like you say, you talk about the messaging. They are humans. I believe in a unified Africa. I believe that Africa should do well in the world and not be reliant on aid and those kind of things. But I get his messaging. Obviously, I think his emphasis is on illegal immigration. When I traveled to Nigeria, my brother, my passport was here.
All the time.
I didn't want to find myself in a situation where I'm asked for something and I don't have it. Wherever I went, whether it's the UK, when I was in Israel, I kept that thing like, So, but I in that way, I feel like, I mean, the word illegal is telling you that it's a crime. Like for you to be in a different country without documentation.
Yeah.
I feel it's more a processes thing that needs to be sorted out. Are they asylum seekers? Are they refugees? You can't just be like hanging like in another country. You get what I'm saying? Maybe it's a bit blunt with his messaging, but I get him. I fully get what he's trying to bring across. I mean, from what I understand, he's done business in other countries as well. He's just saying that, listen, respect another country when you are there.
Look, I get it. Don't get me wrong. It scares me that there's somebody here who's unaccounted for, and he can just kill somebody and just vanish off, and they can't trace or find them.
Yeah.
I get that part, but that messaging, man, it's like I see black on black violence. Maybe that's what
I think you're looking at it from a different perspective, and I think a lot of people also look at it from a different perspective. For me, I would want human rights organizations to advocate for that.
Yeah.
For the humanity side of it. To say, listen, this is another human.
Correct. Yes.
Not government. Not the government. If you represent the state, if you are a statesman, you speak for a South African.
Yeah.
Finish and clear.
I hear you.
The same like it's as it is if I go to America or wherever. If anything happens there that is dodgy, my ambassador of that country must run around to get me out of there. Not the people there. You understand? If you represent the state.
The state.
If you're speaking as a statesman, as a politician that represents the state, your first allegiance is to your citizens, not to humanity. As a human, me, even though I agree with his stance, I would want to accommodate another African as a human being. But if I stand in the same office representing the government, I'll be like, no, my brother, you need to go home as a policy of the country.
Hey.
But also the bigger conversation is that as Africans, we all need to hold our governments responsible
Accountable
for whatever's wrong.
Yeah.
What I would love to see is for everyone to do that. And then once we've started some revolution in our countries to say, guys, how can we come together to show the world a movie that they've never seen? No one is saying we don't want to be, I don't believe South Africa can survive as an island
in isolation
because now everyone must just go home and build. No, it can't work. At some point we have to trade. I mean, we don't have Botswana's diamonds.
Yeah.
There's some stuff we need from another African
100%,
country.
100%, yeah.
So at some point we're going to have to trade. But the way, I think what our government is doing now with like abandoning our borders and those kind of things, it's scary. It's more scary than having than the messaging that you're saying.
You think so?
It's coming across. Yes,
right.
because it's for me. It's the points that they bring up in terms of crime. If those guys come and they commit crimes, where do you find them? First of all, no fingerprints, those kind of things.
No, I hear you.
How do you?
No, look,
also resources. Let's not put the crime thing aside. Resources. You know, if there's now a flare up of informal settlements and there's now a load on the grid.
But it's not true that these guys are stealing our jobs. You think?
For me, it's a low level argument, but it is part of the story. It is part of the story. I don't think, for me, I don't think a lot of South Africans want to be waiters. Like how they talk about. I do, but I still. The principle for me is that if you are illegal in another country, you can't be cool with it.
Oh, I hear.
You cannot. Like I said, you can't. You just can't be cool with it. And also, the other side of it is the arrogance of it. I mean, you've seen footage of illegals fighting our police.
I know. That also got my blood going. Eh?
Yeah, no, but then you can't come and say, "Listen, this is Africa. It's one for all."
No, look, I think, like I said in the beginning, I do agree with you. The messaging around it, I think, can be done better. But I think you've answered me. I think you've answered me well on that one. So you are with, and the last thing I need to say about this is,
look, for me, it's like, I don't know. I feel like if I have answered your question correctly around, I don't see anyone in the political space as a savior.
Yeah.
I think the process of democracy is you borrow someone your vote for 5 years. Unfortunately, with democracy and politics, you have to trust them before they deliver.
Yeah, of course. With a promise.
Some of us are traumatized because we've done this a few times. And so now when somebody says, I'm going to do this, and then you're like, no, but... Yeah. It's also like how people say, how can you use that to campaign? It's like, how else are you going to campaign? You have to demonstrate that you can do something.
Exactly.
And that is your campaign.
Yeah.
You can't just say that I will change this and then people will be like, okay, cool.
Okay, not to be funny or anything, but I was sitting and thinking to myself, like, okay, like a lot of things that Gayton says, I resonate with him. Ne? I'm like, ah, man. But guys,
The what?
he's an ex-con, guys. Like, can we not do better?
Yeah, but that.
Can we not put Musi there at least?
But
like, yeah, no, my president. No. It was like, is there no one who can? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being shallow around this.
Yeah, but the thing is, what is our prison system called? Correctional service.
Correctional. It's a rehab, basically.
Yeah, so if you are saying that a guy like that has also paid his dues, I mean, I know he talks about him visiting over 1,000 schools. And on the comments on some of his videos, I see people saying, yeah, I remember that guy came to our school. He spoke about crime. He had a very good story. So a guy that has tried to make amends
must be given a chance. Ne?
So
I'm saying, if he becomes president,
yeah,
is it actually a good story to tell? So no,
for me,
we've rehabilitated this man, and look at him where he is now.
Look, I can't say I put my trust in any man.
Yeah,
like the logic behind that, I would rather trust a guy like that than someone that I don't really know what he's capable of.
I hear what you're saying, actually.
I mean, we can idolize people like Cyril Ramaphosa, but what do you know? How did he make his billions? Nobody really knows.
My trust, man. Come on now.
I mean, but I know. You get what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
There's a guy, he's told you his story from start to end. He left nothing out. And then...
How do you persecute him after that,
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows really how he made that money. Just because maybe he didn't get on the wrong side of the law. You don't know.
Yeah. So, in closing, we need to go back to music a bit, Do you feel like South African gospel music is over-arranged?
Not so much anymore. I think there was a phase where we were doing a lot too much.
Yeah.
And I found myself in those spaces where it was hard to say, now, as I say something, I'm not the MD.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore because of the trend of music that's moved.
Oh, yes.
CCM, you have now your Maverick City.
Yeah.
I mean, even certain artists that are very well known, like CC Winans, is repositioning themselves in the CCM space.
Yeah.
So the pressure is now on now. It's to simplify the music. Obviously, that contemporary style of music where the music is a little bit more ranged won't completely die out.
Yeah.
But it's not as trendy as it used to be, which is a good thing because then a lot of these gospel artists are getting more reach because the music is more accepted across different, it's more crossover.
100%.
So white people can listen to it, black people can listen to it, different racial groups can listen to it from different cultures. Because the Hill songs, Bethel music, it's universal. As much as I know there's people that don't like it, but it's more universal than
of course, yes.
our contemporary over-range style of music. Because with that style of music, you can go anywhere in Europe and do it, and people will be like...
100%.
But if you have a song where the intro is like... they can look at you like, okay.
The first... Or if you play it on TV, the first minute...
change.
The first minute is the intro.
Look, I think they'll always have that style of music, where the music is heavily arranged, will always have an audience.
Yeah.
But it will never be as universal as that sound, because it's just simple. It's like pop music. It's open. Jazz will never be as popular as pop
Of
music.
course, yes.
I think it's for that same reasons that contemporary gospel music will never have the reach that type of music has.
Fair enough. And you're a songwriter,
yes,
a producer, an arranger, a guitarist. How come I've never seen a guitarist MD? Is it close to piano?
Look, piano still rules the gospel space. It is possible. I mean, it's just that a lot of the producers in the gospel space happen to be, the majority of them happen to be pianists as well. So, and it just looks right, man. The guy with his laptop there, with his keyboard and his talkback. I mean, that's a look, man. Now it's not going to look right. Now, me with my guitar with the laptop now.
I just found it strange because I know you write.
I do write, yes.
Music, and I remember when you recorded your album.
Yes.
In town there by
Downtown Studios.
Downtown Studios, yes, by Absa building there.
Yeah.
And Busi
Tabete, yeah.
Yes, she called me and said, "Can you please bring me lights? We wanna record this." And I came and I brought lights.
Yeah.
And you guys were there with the band. I'm like, okay, so Devine wrote these songs. I'm like,
yeah.
So Devine can write. So I mean, if he can write, then obviously and he can arrange.
Yeah.
He can be an MD. Why doesn't he? Have you never been asked?
I have, not by anyone that has done any big project.
Oh, okay. Also, you've done it like studio projects.
Yes, where I have done a bit of MDing stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, it is like I said, it's the look also, and a lot of the known producers are guys that happen to be piano players.
Yeah.
You know, they play keys, so
Yeah.
that's where it is. And also, it's the domain thing, man. You know, MDing is the domain of the keyboard player.
Of course. It's the alpha.
Yeah.
But you look at people like Sabu. There's no doubt that guy can be MD.
He is
no
actually,
problem.
He is actually starting to. I'm actually happy about it. He's had that mind for a long time. People don't know that about him.
Yeah.
You know, he's an arranger. Besides being a phenomenal drummer.
Yeah.
He's been an MD at art for a long time, and I think
course.
now people are starting to trust and notice that let the guy do the stuff.
Because Sneakiwe has been an MD for Gipiri.
Yes, so a lot of the
did it
musicians
in a
actually have the capability. So we are starting to break out of the norms to say, wait a minute, man, this guy is more than just an instrumentalist. He's more than just a drummer. He's actually got some solid ideas for arrangement and producing. For producing.
Ne? So your album. So you've recorded that one album, ne? But it just came. It seems like the music is only coming out in singles. What's happening? It was 2017.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a few years ago. So because it was my first self-produced album. Look, the producing wasn't the issue and the writing. It was the way some of the songs were recorded. I had to do a lot of posts on those songs.
Oh, I see.
So the ones I could save, I released them. And there were some that I couldn't save because of the way they were recorded.
Okay.
Downtown is a good facility, but on the day, there's a lot of things that didn't go well.
I see.
So, but I did another project after that, and I'm working on post now. Now that I have my own studio, not solo owned, but in partnership.
Of course.
I'm free to do a lot of those projects,
Correct. And beautiful songs. Tell me, did you write the song Let Your Will Be Done, the one with Mahalia?
Yes. Yeah, no, I did that.
And Promises with Ntokozo.
Promises with Ntokozo, there's another song that I wrote for Nubeko, which
No Greater Love.
No Greater Love.
Yes, with Nubeko.
Yeah, so those are songs from that first project.
That's what I'm saying.
So also technology advanced. We had an issue with the files. Some of them had a lot of bleed. And now when AI was doing the most, where we could now remove noise from some of those files, I was like, here's my chance. I still had those files. I was like, now I'm going to clean up those files and release them.
Yeah.
So that's what happened there.
All right. Yeah. And you've got something beautiful happening, man. You've got Music-ish.
Studios,
So I wanted to tell you the funny story. So Fifi invites me to come and attend the launch of Music-ish in Eldorado Park, right?
Yeah.
So he sends me the invite, but if you know Fifi, over-communicate. So he'll call me. So he sent me the invite. Instead of me looking at the invite, he tells me, no, it must be at this time. I'll send you a location. So I didn't look at that invite. I was like, okay, I must come. You can come with a +1. Cool.
Yeah.
I called a bra of mine. I said, bra, let's go. So we drive to Aldo's. We get the aliens. We buy the food around.
Yeah.
And we're chilling. Then Brian says to me, KG, when are you? So we're setting me up here. I said, what do you mean? Can you see everyone is wearing suits here? I'm like, man. These guys are musicians, don't worry. And then people start arriving. Everyone is wearing suits. I'm dressed like this. Brian looks at me and says, "Bruh, let's go."
You were feeling out.
But there was no way I was going to go in there. I didn't look at it because Fifi kept on calling me. Yeah. You coming, eh? Coming. So I ended up not looking at the post.
Looking at the invite, yeah.
The invite.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it because he said, no, just come early. And then Fifi also gave it away and says, yeah, no, I'm going to change now. I'm going to wear my suit. Then I started looking around. You came with a suit, a black suit. Black suit. I'm like, Fifi boy, you know what? I love you, but no, there's no way I'm going to come in jeans and people are doing this. Yeah. We drove home.
Oh, wow. Now I remember. I didn't see you later. I saw you when I arrived. Yes.
When you arrived, you were there. And I said, no, man. So we checked. I've got jackets in the car. I'm like,
still not the one.
I'm like, no. I'm still wearing jeans. I'm like, no way. Sorry. I honored the invite. I came.
You should have stayed. There was a few people also that didn't read the invite. That were like there. They're like, no, let's just stay there.
No. Brian said, bruh. Plus, Brian was wearing a bomber jacket, and he was like all hip hop and boots.
Yeah, you would have blended in. There's just a few people there that didn't get the memo. Even the lady that emceed for us, Bianca.
Yeah.
She called me literally, I think, the day before. Even though we sent the invite.
Yeah.
She was like, "What's the dress code? What must I wear?" And then she was like, "Never mind. I just looked at the invite now."
I didn't look at it. I got there, arrived as we were supposed to walk in. Bro, let's go. Yeah. Security. Coming back, see what's God.
Even my brother that came, I sent him the invite like literally 2 hours before.
Yeah.
He's like, "What must I wear?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
"It's on the invite."
Dude, it's an invite.
But when you invite black people, tell them
they just want the time and the location.
Suit, yeah, suit. You must wear a suit, everyone will be wearing a suit. Then we'll know.
We want to insist for that event because musicians are stubborn with dress code.
Yeah.
So we were like, guys, we need to set the example and wear our suits so that everyone must come in that attire.
But anyway, that was just by the way. So what are you cooking up in there, man? What are you doing in there? I know it's a studio. At a certain time, you're gonna do a podcasting.
Yes.
And then you've got much more control, and it's also a community center.
Yes.
So tell us what it is about.
So it's in the heart of Aldos. It's inside a NGO called Push. So from the communities, the NGO side, they do on-site, they do family counseling, they do family planning, they do HIV testing in that facility. And then they also feed the children there, like especially orphan children. They have a few chaperones that help kids with homework. So they've got programs that run around empowering the community. In the mornings, there's old ladies that come and do aerobics there, that kind of a thing. But so how we ended up there, somebody referred us there and said, listen, there's a space there that you can use for your studio. Mm-hmm. So we went to look at the place. Initially, we didn't want to do it in Aldos because we know a lot of people are worried about the area and stuff. But eventually, we were like, guys, let's do something in the name of for the community.
Yeah.
That they'll be able to benefit from later. Then we set up studio there. We had to obviously do the soundproofing, get the gear. But eventually we moved in there. So it's not really just about the studio. It's we were launching sort of the Music East production hub. So we're doing a lot of things like how you mentioned, recordings, the voiceovers, podcasting. So it's really that type of thing where we want to do our own projects as well. Yeah. So that we're not restricted, how we've been doing things. We always hire a studio and then we're limited with time and stuff like that. So for us, it's liberating. But also the original plan was for us to hunt talent, especially people that are not exposed, that don't have the opportunity to record, to get their music out there, whatever they do, whether it's spoken word or whatever, and give them a platform to showcase their stuff.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah. And the community can come in there and record their
stuff.
They
can. Obviously, we still need to keep it commercial to a certain extent. So we're trying to do other projects where we can generate the funds to keep the thing going. But at the same time, be aware of our social responsibility in the area. So we also have a corporate band. We use that to generate our funds. We hire out our own gear, that kind of a thing, just to keep the concept and the business going. But at the same time, plow back to the community. So our arrangement there is to obviously also start teaching, the kids that come there. We haven't officially started yet, but we already have the curriculum in place. So anytime now we should get that going.
Teaching, you mean guitar?
Not just
music.
Guitar, music in general.
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
We want to outsource some of the other instruments, voice, get someone in to do voice. So basically just to have a whole arts thing going there where children can. Because, some of these communities, we complain about gangsterism and alcoholism, but where do the kids go?
Exactly.
What's the alternative?
Exactly.
We get that obviously sports is a big thing in our communities, but not everyone wants to play soccer and stuff. So if we can use that as a means to get some of the kids. So we have our plate full because we still need to survive,
of course,
and make money and do that.
No, man, I've got tons of respect for you. It's the second time you mentioned giving back. There's a pastor who came out. Remember, Ponzo Are, musicians are useless financially to the kingdom, And then when I see people like you breaking the norm,
Yeah, not to the extent that I would want. Mentorship for me as a concept is a big thing. And I mean, when I was learning, like we mentioned earlier, I didn't have any formal music training, but there were guys that were willing to help and say, no, this is how you play this chord.
Yeah.
And now years later, when I'm established, I should be able to do the same for somebody.
No, of course.
To say, listen, no, not like that. Check, or teaching,
No. Teaching, giving back is actually what.
Yeah.
That's
Pay
how
it
the
forward. It's
legacy.
Concept of paying it forward.
Yeah.
In some way. And like I said, I get a lot of inboxing of guys asking, why don't you teach? Or asking general advice. From time to time, I get inboxes from musicians maybe in Cape Town and be like, hey, dude, how do I get into the industry, man? So I tell them, listen, it's about 1, 2, 3. It's not just about your playing. You still need to check 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
So those kind of things, not just the actual playing, but maybe have more workshops to talk about the business side of the music industry.
100%.
For a long time, we were just focused on the industry,
Yeah.
But there's the business side of it as well.
Yeah.
Make sure you're publishing, it's sorted, those kind of things. Are you registered with SAMRO? Are you going to be crying about your songs that are released on social media?
Yes. Because people don't know that registering with those organizations, that's actually where the business is. What you get on the day, for example, had you gotten your royalties for Loliwe, you guys would be getting a nice check.
That's a fight. I don't know where it's going to go now, seeing that Zahara is no more.
Yeah.
But to an extent, it's also our responsibility. We should have been more tenacious about it.
Yep.
But I mean, for me, I guess it's water under the bridge. We've done a lot of other projects that we can do better now, that we know better.
Yeah.
And I mean, I only signed a publishing deal maybe 6 years ago. I've been in this industry for over 16 years. It just goes to show. So my advice to the new end guys coming in, it would be like, sort out your papers. Make sure you have a publisher that knows what he's doing.
Correct.
The big names, talk to them, hear what they're offering. Like, for example, also when COVID hit, a lot of the guys went underground. They were like, done. There was no church. There was no
nothing,
gigs.
bruh.
And fortunately for me, what kept me going, the few songs that I wrote for people actually kept me going. There wasn't a lot of money, but I was able to pay my house.
You know what I'm saying?
Pay a car payment here.
Hey, but you said your house is 30,000 a month.
Is
that not much? This man. So 30,000 is not much.
By faith in Jesus' name.
So, but you're absolutely right. And unfortunately, I was talking to Ponto. We were very frustrated because we got somebody from Share.
Yes.
Share Music, the publishing.
I'm actually signed with Share.
Share.
Yeah.
Oh, are you also with Kifilwe?
Kifilwe, yes.
Really? We got Kifilwe here to come and talk about these things.
Yeah.
People don't watch it. Musicians don't watch it.
They're not interested because, I mean, if you're making 10K in a weekend, the last thing you're thinking about is those kind of things. Until those gigs dry up. The thing is, you need to be signed to those organizations, SAMRO. I have a retirement annuity with SAMRO.
Capasso and all those guys.
Yes, Capasso, the Sampra. You need to be signed up with those. Correct. But also there's an aspect of musicians that are focused on just the live gigging. And they need to be told, listen, you're actually at the bottom of the chain. As much as money as you're making,
it's actually nothing.
It's a seasonal thing. You need to be setting yourself up for passive income, royalty income. And also that will outlive you.
100%.
When you can no longer even get up to play a gig, you know, your royalties and your works that you've created can be passed on to your spouse or your kids. So.
Look, bro, what you're saying is so profound because there's certain musicians I look back, there's no gig they were not on. Yeah. And a younger kid came up and took over the gig. Yeah. You know,
there's so many examples in the industry. I mean, you know these guys. Some of them are legends. But when you see the funerals and how things happened when they passed,
it's a problem.
It's sad. So that for me was also an eye-opener to say, no, listen, get this thing going. Robbie Malinga, the late Robbie Malinga, also, because we did a lot of projects after Zahara with Robbie Malinga at Universal. It used to be like, guys, publishing is where the money is. Don't sleep on this. Forget about these gigs. You know, he had a way of talking, but his messaging was very brutal.
Correct.
But we got the gist. He's actually the guy that sort of made me sign up at Sheer. Because he kept mentioning this guys, did you sort out your publishing? Did you sort out your publishing?
Oh, I thought it was Dr. Victor that gave you that advice.
No. Dr. Victor was more, I think when I first met him, early days when I just started this gigging thing, he actually said, he was the guy that was like, my brother, stay away from women.
Oh, he gave you the lifestyle coach. Okay, yes.
You see this guy that used to play for me, you see where is he now? The alcohol messed him up. He's a great player, but just to get him to a gig is a mission. Don't go that route.
You remind me of a musician. I don't know if I should say his name, man. But man, a lot of alcohol is, and this gigging life, you can only be there for so long. You know?
It's a seasonal. It's like us. I don't know if it's a good thing to compare to sports, like a soccer player.
Of course.
I mean, you cannot be Ronaldo forever, my brother.
I remember when it started, it was the drummer, Gwazishange was him.
Yes.
And it was Spanish, was playing for everyone. Yeah. But now the game has changed.
Game has changed.
The younger guys are even coming up now.
But the thing is, music is so broad, and a lot of us have never considered the other side of things. We've not cast our nets to the other side.
Correct.
I can put it that way. So there's publishing. I mean, Netflix. You could be doing scores for film. There's so much in music that you could do. I mean, you can focus on production. There's a lot of people that are actually registered with SAMRO that don't do a gig, but they are getting
big money.
Getting big money. So you just need to reposition yourself. Some of us need to diversify. I'm not saying stop gigging. Do it if it makes you happy. I know guys that have been gigging for 25 years and they have no plan to stop. But I'm saying also think about the other side. When you can no longer get up to go do that gig, what's going to happen? So, create a catalog of works that you can look back and say, listen, I can still live of this. Because what the advice Kifilwe and the guys at Sheer gave me is like, listen, you can write a song that might go nowhere. And 10 years from now, some random guy in America can call you and be like, I want that song for my movie.
For my movie, exactly. Exactly what you were saying.
One of the songs that I wrote, I pitched it to a couple of artists. They were like, no, man. I have similar songs. I'm not going to take that song. So in my mind, I was like, maybe the song is not good enough. And then Elle came along. She was like, hey, man, give me a song. I took that same song and gave it to Elle. That's my best performing song in terms of royalties.
Oh, my goodness. Sure.
Yeah.
Is that where you made your million?
During COVID, some of those royalties from that song that I wrote 10 years ago was paying my car. So I'm just saying, I mean, if I had a bigger catalog, that would have been a bigger success story.
100%.
You know?
Had you registered with Zahara there, you could have been...
You know? And that's what was advice that, I mean, guys like Robin them gave us, and me in particular, I don't know why he was speaking on me, but he kept saying, my brother, publishing is where the money is at. Make sure your songs are registered, you push your catalog, grow your catalog, write as much as possible for people. Even if the songs are not being used, one day someone is going to say, no, man, I want that song, I want to redo it. You know, I Will Always Love You, Dolly Parton, Whitney's story.
Yeah.
I mean, people think that I Will Always Love You is Whitney's song. It's Dolly Parton's song, but 100%. She made that song like it's hers.
100%.
And who was coining?
Right there. My brother, you're such a bowl of wisdom, man. Thank you. I don't know how to thank you for coming through, man. But before you go, I need you to answer this for me. What would you like to see change in the gospel music industry?
What I like to see change in the gospel music industry is for us to do more collaborations, for those cliques to dissolve a little bit more between artists.
Yeah.
Musicians are more, they work together a lot more. You know, that thing of KZN versus Polokwane thing versus Cape Town. That thing is sort of not there anymore. I mean, I even got the call to do Idols. I was like, what? Now, I considered myself not to be part of that crew, but I got the call to do, the Idols thing for a couple of years, even though it was just theatre week. But what I'm saying is between artists to do more collaborations. I think that's what I see happening in the US more. The most unlikely people are doing collabs.
Correct.
If we could do that here, and I think it's beginning, but I think we can do more of that. So collabs, working together. Maybe if, for example, that doing a recording is expensive.
Hell of expensive.
So maybe if these guys can come together and say, guys, we share the same fans. Let's do one event. Exactly. You do your set of 6 songs. I do my set.
8 songs.
We share the bill. From a business side.
Because a lot of artists I sit with, they say, I have not made that money back.
Yeah, but people now, how are you going to make it back? If YouTube is paying you 4 cents a stream, my brother, when are you going to make that 600,000 back?
and you check, what do you call it? They say, I've not even made half of that money. Mkuruli Bebe came and says, my DVD, even today. But you're absolutely right. If 3 people, because we just want one-man show. It's great if you can sell it out and you can actually make money. But even
if you sell it out, you're still not making your money.
No, you're still not making
how expensive these things are.
It's expensive.
For me, I don't know why guys are still doing this thing. I take the call when I get it, my brother. Yeah. But in my mind, I'm like thinking, business-wise, are you sure?
Absolutely. And if Devine Mitchell was not born, what would the world miss out on? This is your time to gloat, my brother.
To gloat? I think I will be talking before my time. There's so much that I still want to do.
Yeah.
Let me just give you one of my goals. Like, if every home in South Africa could have a guitar and someone to play it, I think even if it stops there, I'd be happy.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that your goal?
It's not. It's one of them.
Yeah.
It's one of them because I think the arts, music brought people together. I grew up without my dad in the house, but when his musician friend came around, it was like, you forget all that. You're like, yeah, the home is happy, people are joyful.
Yeah.
Music unifies people like in a way you cannot believe. And then, I would like to write a couple of books before I sign out on my view of the world. I have a lot of views on...
the world or the music industry?
Both.
Oh, both. Okay, cool.
I'm an undercover theologian. I can call it that.
Bishop.
Although not... how can I put it? I'm not very argumentative, so I try and contain myself when on social media and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But as a child, my mom, taught us a lot of stuff about the scriptures and our faith that I didn't learn in church, and so that thing sort of stuck with me. I read a lot of books. She encouraged us to read. So I have a lot of views that I have not aired yet publicly. that my wife always says, you are scared, you.
Yeah.
So...
Is he bang?
No, because people are very... cancel culture is a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing, eh?
So sometimes you can get cancelled before you've brought your points across.
No, there's a handful of people who've got the thick skin.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I maybe resonate a lot with Gayton McKenzie. He doesn't care, my brother. Doesn't care, but you need to have a strong pocket as well to say.
I'm not strong. But let me tell you, deep down, I'm a big fan of that guy. Eh?
I'm a huge fan of him, not for political reasons only.
Yeah.
I think, I tell you why, I don't know why this conversation is going back there, but I need to tell you, for me, it is not even about what he can deliver on.
Yeah.
The fact that he managed to sensitize a whole race of people politically.
100%.
My son told me straight 2019, I registered to vote for what? But the last conversation I had, you went without me telling him. Said, this time I'm voting. So just that alone for me is a huge accomplishment. No, listen,
Gayton, maybe I need to stop this thing of, I'm going to be led by a criminal.
But the other thing is also...
But I love his views. I listen to his manifesto.
Yeah.
That's why when you talk, I can talk with you because I've listened to him.
Yeah.
Dude makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. Look, the other parties, I also... Like Julius Malema, there's a lot of stuff. I have a love-hate relationship with him. Because, his the speech he did my brother. I listened to that speech.
In that university, yeah.
That guy had no paper, But the stuff he was saying.
He was just talking.
Yeah, so for me, no one has a 100% approval rate.
No one.
You'll never find anyone, even your pastor, if you listen to him long enough, you'll be like, I get that, but that thing you said there.
You're absolutely right.
So in politics, it's the same.
It's the same.
There's a lot of stuff that I can resonate with what Julius is saying, but the open borders thing, I'm like, no, my brother, no. We can't go there now. There's stuff we need to fix first, and then we can have that conversation.
Can I tell you, my biggest challenge is, I feel like, hey, man, as much as I'm caught between those two, man, I'm not going to lie. Julius and Gayton. Hey, man, I'm confused.
The thing, you know what, also a deciding factor for me
is
the controversial one on the Palestine-Israel issue.
Yeah.
You know what I love about McKenzie? He doesn't care what the media is saying. Doesn't care. He told that guy straight the other day, there's no genocide happening there.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that a lot of us want to say,
but you can't.
We are nervous, of the backlash.
But at least you are rich. You've got money. Some of us can't say these things.
No, I'm not in a position where I can say those things yet.
Just pray.
Even though a lot of South Africans are like, tell them.
Tell them, yes.
Yeah. No. So, like are you saying? The EFF. Julius Malema is clear that they support their stance. For me, the sensible stance to make is to say we support both sides. Like a two-state solution.
Yeah.
Those kind of. I'm not hearing anyone saying that. We know the ANC is pro-Palestine, EFF is pro-Palestine, the DA is pro-Israel, but they can't say.
They can't. Those ones are wishy-washy.
Yeah. So for me, the guy that's saying, listen. Me personally, this is my view, but our party stance is two-state. That's the only thing that can make sense. That's the most level-headed thing you can say. So the fact that he's not being bullied by legacy media, he doesn't care what they write, that's so inspirational.
Yeah, you see, Gayton and Malema.
Both of them. Malema also says what he wants.
They say what they want, and my generation, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah,
I hate those speeches. I want somebody who will put the notes aside and say, "Come, let me tell you."
I was also sort of caught between the two for a long time. But for me, I think what stands out for me on McKenzie is he's got commercial sense. He talks about our ocean economy. He talks about all the reasons why South Africa should do well. And then Julius also comes and says, yes, if you're working for a mining company for 10 years, why can't you own shares in that company?
Correct. And he says, BE doesn't work, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
But my brother, we can continue till tomorrow about this because
he started on music and ended up on politics.
You must know, You must know. But thank you very much for coming through.
It's a pleasure.
But on the Gospel Reality podcast, we've got a sponsor. See? We are married. So this is called... somebody saw something I didn't see on this. Is that a naked woman? I said, anyway, it's our sponsor on the. It's a shower gel. Please try it. Yeah, you can take that one.
Yeah, no.
Please try it, and it washes your sins as white as snow. I can vouch for this.
I have some sins that need to be washed.
And then it can also be used as a bath bomb.
Yeah,
but not a bath bomb. What do you call it? Bath foam.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing of using.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
My wife says I'm heavy on shower gel, so
try this.
I'm gonna give her a break. For a while.
Yeah. Try this if you like it. Hit them up on Instagram and order from them, please. There's some people who are doing it, but when you leave here, even if you take a picture with it and you tag them on Instagram, it'll be great. So
I'm very bad with social media though, but I do try.
You do try, ne? So that's yours. That's yours, my brother. And then from the Gospel Reality podcast, we've got the hot and cold.
Wow.
Ne? No savannah in this one. Ne? This one is for water.
It's for water. For water, for lemon.
For lemon.
For your apple cider vinegar. Those kind of things.
Yeah,
Hopefully I don't lose this one because I had a one that I bought a month back. I don't know where is it now.
Ne?
Yeah, hopefully
this one has got a track. I'll show you on the app.
Okay, cool.
So you
give me the logins.
Straight. But my brother, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence.
It's a pleasure.
I know you're a busy person. We heard with your dreams, your aspirations, and what you want to do. So thank you very much for taking the time, man.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks for the call, man.
No, definitely. But you knew it was coming, eh?
And I had a feeling, but I didn't know when, though.
From the drive from Zanin.
Yes.
After that talk, I was like, hey, man, the substance in this man, The substance, but...
You know what, that's part of my favorite moments, actually, in the music industry. I didn't mention is a lot of the traveling. Because, musicians, they take forever to get from one point to another. So in between, there's the conversations. You'll be shocked. Somebody can do a reality show on just the conversation that happens in musicians' cars.
It'll be dope, ne?
It'll be dope.
Hey, just give me an idea. Hey, Fonz.
No, let's run with it, man. The content is there. There's a lot of content.
There is.
We tried it at some point, but people were not playing together, man. So we didn't know quite how we were going to do it. Because, also some of the content was highly controversial. Classified stuff.
We can't go into that one. But my brother, thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first on the Gospel Reality Podcast. Other than that, Aphoto Ibe Lilon.